Hello and welcome to the YouTube channel for craftworld.eldar.com. I'm Brent, and this video is a little bit different. It's pretty rare that I do product reviews, but I found something recently online because of targeted advertising on Facebook that I'm kind of excited about. And that is highly thematic, clear, full area Aeldari objective markers that are durable and actually sit flat. I have wanted these since I got back into 40K. And somebody finally made them. This company called objectivemarkers.com in the UK. I will link them in the video description. Thank you, targeted Facebook advertising. So here's why these things are great. First off, if you're not playing with large objective markers, that is markers that represent not only the marker itself, but the full area of control around the marker. So you're not pulling out your tape measure to see if each individual model is really close enough. The cardboard skull ones that they give you with some of the decks and stuff are fine. They're the same size as a poker chip, but they really don't hold a candle to the large markers, which are, I think, standard in like all tournaments everywhere. But what most people use and most tournaments use and most stores use is sets of polypropylene markers that are usually branded. So maybe they're branded with some fluorescent graffiti-ish looking text that identifies the name of a store or of a particular tournament or some Warhammer event. You might have noticed on my channel and my videos, I often will show images of tables with branded craftworld.eldar.com objective markers. I don't sell these things because I couldn't make any money off of them. I have a company on Etsy or whatever that produces them. And sometimes I give sets to friends or people that I play with, and they look nice, and I like the branding for the channel. But honestly, what's really happened is I've gotten used to them. I remember the first time I went to a Warhammer 40,000 tournament and saw these like big branded objective markers on tables, and I remember thinking, well, that actually looks kind of dumb. I was a little bit disappointed. I have since, because I've become accustomed to them, I don't mind anymore. But I do remember this visceral reaction that they ruined the aesthetic of the table. Like, part of the fun of the game is the aesthetics of the models and creating a battlefield that looks like a landscape in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. And the big branded objective markers kind of kill the vibe. And although I do prefer clear ones, as I said, I've sort of gotten used to these things. But I have some friends from childhood. Most of the 40K that I play at this point is with other players who like to play more seriously at stores and competitions and stuff. But I have some childhood friends that I played Warhammer with when I was a kid, and we still occasionally meet up and play Warhammer. They've never been to a tournament. They don't want to go to one. We only play narrative, and they do not like the big branded markers. And I totally get it. A few years ago, I found some clear markers from a company on Etsy, and they're fine. I still have them. I occasionally use them, but they get scratched easily and they're rigid. So although they'll sit flat on a polypropylene mat, they will not sit flat nearly as well on a textured table. And in addition to having made several boards myself, which are textured, I also, at one point, I think to celebrate the end of the first year of the channel or whatever, I just made an absolutely ridiculous purchase, and I found one of the old 6x4 three-dimensional table sets that Games Workshop produced very briefly and maybe only for stores. And I kind of wish they still made these things because they're pretty awesome, and they're more consistent with the terrain than a polypropylene mat. And the hard clear objective markers I'd purchased in the past really don't sit flat or well on this. And polypropylene looks dumb, whereas the markers from objectivemarkers.com are just freaking gorgeous on there. Because not only are they clear, but they're also not rigid. They sort of form and adhere to whatever you put them on and sort of like glom on there. And although I haven't had these very long, it looks like they're going to hold up really well. Like they don't scratch, they don't smudge. I don't even see my fingerprints on them nearly as much as I do on the other clear ones that I have owned in the past. So these things sit well on the table, they're durable, they're clear, they get the job done, but also they're kind of beautiful. I really like the designs. It's a nice marriage of having some sort of aesthetic to the objective marker itself, not having it just be clear without ruining the vibe or the aesthetic of the table. Some of them have sort of like a HUD display effect where it looks like it's being projected by the display in a helmet, or for the Aeldari ones, they a little bit look like awakened runes or some psychic projection or something, but it totally works. It's beautiful, and I think it brings the same sort of quality to the table that the models and sculpted GW terrain brings. And I just really like aesthetic table dressing stuff. Like having some little tray from Etsy or whatever to track your command points and your battle focus tokens, and having nice deployment zone markers and stuff like that. I think it dresses up and improves the experience. And we already have this huge investment in these beautiful models that we spend hours and hours and hours painting, in this terrain that we spend hours and hours and hours building. It just doesn't require that much more time and money to make the whole experience of playing the game feel like a consistent, cool aesthetic experience. You know, when we're 12, we make terrain out of styrofoam and soda cans and stuff, but I find as an adult playing at a nice looking table improves my experience. I enjoy it more. I have more fun. It's just nicer. Now, these things are a little pricey at $40, which is about, I think, $10 more than some of the polypropylene options. This game is already so expensive that I kind of think it's worth it. You're going to use these maybe in like every game you play, certainly every game you host. And we frequently spend over $50 on squads that we definitely do not use in all of our games. It's also how I think about terrain. I never mind spending money on terrain because, well, I mind, but I think terrain and mats are great investments because you probably are going to use, having that stuff improves most of your games instead of just the games when I happen to be using this army and running this particular unit. And so I feel like this is actually some of the best money you can spend on the hobby, is the stuff that you're going to use all the time. Although, full disclosure, when I found these things, I had a set in my shopping cart, and at the last minute, I reached out to the company and I was like, "Hey, would you be interested in sending these over? I'll mention them in a video. I'll take a look at them." But they actually sent me the Aeldari ones and the Necron ones, but I absolutely would have bought them. And I didn't need to make a video just about the markers. I like the markers so much that I'm giving them their own short video. So I think at the moment, these are the best Aeldari objective markers on the market. And if you like that sort of thing, I suggest them. There are some three-dimensional options that are just the size of that, poker chip. And I do have sets of these, and they look cool. And sometimes I'll set one like in the middle of a clear objective when I'm playing with people who like a narrative table, but they get in the way of moving things like tanks around, and even sometimes getting all of the models onto the objective that you want to get on there because they're not technically there. And so I do think from both a practical and an aesthetic perspective, currently, these are probably the best things you can get. Okay, that's what I've got. Back again soon with tactics or lore. Until then, best of luck in your next campaign. Oh, and if you have other objective markers that you really like, feel free to link those in the comments below too. Okay, bye.